to the first edition of Addington News for 2022, and Darren Williams. Nice break it was, but gee, things changed on Sunday, my friend.
Yeah, look, some changes, and we're going to go through those shortly. Look, we had a really great meeting Friday night.
Didn't we?
If anything, caught a wee bit short with staffing and things. Even I wasn't expecting the crowd to rock up like that, so it was fantastic. Weather was great, racing was great, and they had a good time.
They did.
But yeah, it just put us under a little bit of pressure that we weren't expecting, but you know, it was great, and we would have made changes to make all that work even better this week. But unfortunately, we found ourselves back into some familiar territory where we have to make some decisions that we know perhaps aren't popular, but we have to do it in the best interests of protecting our ability to keep racing.
Yeah, and that is the most important thing, and that's part of the reason why the bubbles, in particular the stables bubble, the owners bubble, the members bubble, but in particular the stables bubble is imperative. That's why there'll be no mixing of the horse people who are bringing the horses in.
Yeah, so this is quite a change in that we are going to keep the bubble in the stables completely separate to everything else. It's imperative that we do not ourselves, by having someone on course, infect or pass on the virus to people in the stables. So, you know, it could be someone here that doesn't know they've got it at that point in time, and if they are not an essential person to be in the stables, which unfortunately an owner isn't essential to the operation of those stables, we will keep those separate to try and protect our ability to race under this red setting. We've given a lot of consideration to it. Of course, New Zealand thoroughbred racing have gone to more extremes by racing behind closed doors completely.
Outside of the Wellington Cup.
Outside the Wellington
Cup. Which is
so
similar to our Cup days.
Yeah, and look, we know how frustrating that is, doing it during Cup meeting. We know that it's not ideal. We know it's not the experience people want. Unfortunately, they have to be waiter service. They have to sit. It's not a social type event, so we know how that works. But we've made some decisions around keeping owners and things here, but they do have to stay separate.
So the key things with them, Darren, is essentially any owner can come, provided they've got a horse racing that night. They'll come to the Linkway and sign in as per normal. They don't have to register.
They don't have to register.
At this stage?
At this stage, they don't have to register. Certainly for this week they don't, and that's our intent going forward. They can bring a partner at this stage for race meetings, so we're going to try and deal with that and let them bring a partner, have access to spectators, access to half of the lawn, access to the seating bowl to be elevated to watch the race. So all of those sorts of things. We won't be doing photos. Photos will be taken of the horse by AJ and race images, but owners won't be out there because they're going to come from different pods and we can't mix them.
No.
So we can't do that. No presentations, obviously. No public on course, unless I've got a ticket to an event like trackside dining, and we do have a few in there. Members will have their own area like they normally would at this stage, and we'll assess as we go forward. So we've tried to find a halfway house that will work for us. We don't want to keep chopping and changing, but obviously
who knows, it's a day-to-day thing.
It can be imposed on us. Masks obviously back in vogue, and the changes to the masks coming in 9 days, so our staff will be wearing the surgical masks going forward. Yeah, look, it's certainly not what we want to do. We want to make sure we keep racing, but keeping those two bubbles separate and the ability for an owner still to come and see their horse race is what we want to do.
All right, and it really is essential that we do keep racing going. You talked about last Friday night, for example, and how good the racing was. Franco Indy was back, Manhattan rated 55 in her win, and she steps up to the Garrard's Premier Mares this week. Yeah, look, it was just a really good race night here, enjoyed by those on course, and it builds towards this Friday. Again, another very good meeting, and then the Breeders, Stanterbury Breeders Stakes in a couple of weeks' time. Yeah,
look, we're going to leave you with Manhattan's win and an aggressive drive by Bob Barty's got a couple of horses in this week. Manhattan, I think, are about 3. Taste of Honey 1, Better Twist, Bella Montana, All American Lover, plus a pile of other mares that are all very capable.
Yeah, definitely.
And as you say, that leads into the Group 1 in a couple of weeks. But that was an aggressive drive. Of course, we've got the Coca-Cola Summer Cup, Oscar Bonavina, Muscle Mountain,
Midnight Dash. Good race.
Bit of Muscle, who was very impressive for Blair and Paul Nairn the other night. So and he's drawn well. So that's going to be a good race as well. So look, you're going to still be able to watch the action on trackside. We're still going to have some great racing. We're familiar with this. It's certainly not what we want to do. but we've got the ability to keep racing, and that's what we want to carry on with. So look, enjoy this race on the way out.
And just keep an eye on all the websites, Addington Raceway, Harness Racing New Zealand, and obviously the government website, the COVID website, because there will be updates regularly.
Yeah, and we'll be going out with EDMs to all the industry participants from our database, plus all of the owners with horses racing this week, explaining exactly how this will work, and that'll go out later on the afternoon on Wednesday.
All right, here's Manhattan.
28 to the third quarter, has 2.5 to spare on Silk and Darling Me. She's off the bit here as Manhattan went for home. 3 clear Darling Me. Cheezel running on from Silk, but it's Manhattan at the 120. She's got them all off the bit here, Manhattan. She raced away. Manhattan, too good for Darling Me and Cheezel. 4th in Better Talk Art. Good run with a view to next week from Kelly's Delight and Maybelline.